Welcome to Basics of Biblical Hebrew, Chapter 4, Hebrew Nouns. Now, if you've made it this far, there is good news. All of the really hard, difficult stuff is behind you. If you have memorized the Hebrew alphabet, figured out how the vowels worked, and then gotten a sense of syllabification, you have done the hard work of learning Hebrew language. What we're going to do now is some of the fun stuff, put that into practice and talk about, in this particular chapter, Hebrew nouns. Hebrew nouns. So a noun, as you know, will name a person, place, thing, or idea, and it's kind of the fundamental building block of the language to give things names. And so the first thing we want to do when it now comes to actually using our alphabet and vowels and syllables, to talk about our first primary grammatical category, the noun. All right? Now in Hebrew, a noun has both gender and number. Gender and number. And so let's look at your screen and see what Hebrew has in terms of gender and number. First, with regard to gender, Hebrew nouns are either masculine or feminine, though a few nouns are both masculine and feminine, meaning this way. A Hebrew noun will have one of two genders, masculine or feminine, okay? And they'll always exist in that particular category. A noun will be either always masculine or always feminine, all right? A couple of nouns, which we'll label as common, can be either masculine or feminine, but they're the rarer category. For now, you've got to think that nouns can be either masculine or feminine. Now, in terms of a noun's gender, don't think about gender. I know that's kind of a funny thing to say, but we're going to talk about not natural gender, whether something's a boy or a girl, but when I'm talking about gender here, I'm talking about something called grammatical gender. Now, what is grammatical gender if it's not about being a boy or a girl? A grammatical gender is gender applied to nouns in terms of how they pluralize or change their forms in order to indicate one noun or two or more nouns. So do I have a dog or do I have dogs? All right. Do I have a singular octopus or plural octopi? All right. You can see in dog and dogs and octopus and octopi, I've pluralized those nouns slightly differently, one with an S, one with an I. In Hebrew, the reason we have masculine and feminine nouns is because we have different patterns for pluralization in those genders. So we're not talking about natural gender, boy or girl, we're talking about grammatical gender. Now, when a noun can have natural gender, it will normally, but not always, be in the masculine gender. And when a noun can have or is associated with a feminine thing, it normally will, but not always, be in the feminine gender. So the noun for man is masculine, but the noun for woman is feminine. That makes sense, but it doesn't always apply, all right? Primarily, you need to think about gender in Hebrew as having a grammatical reality, different forms for pluralization, and you'll see how that works in a minute, all right? So a noun in Hebrew can be either masculine or feminine. A few are common, meaning they can make reference to either a masculine or feminine thing. The second thing that a noun has in Hebrew is a number. So let's look at our screen again, and we'll see that with regard to a noun's number, it may be either singular, indicating one, plural, indicating more than one, or dual, indicating a specific number, two. All right? So with regard to gender, masculine or feminine, and with regard to number, singular, plural, or dual. Now in English we have singular forms and plural forms, but the dual form may be new to you, all right? And in Hebrew we have a particular set of endings that indicate that there are two of something, all right? So I could say sus, one horse, susim, lots of horses, or susayim, two horses. Hebrew has this little particular trick where they allow you to say one, many, or two, all right? And so that's one of the fun features that's different from English that you get to learn about and talk with to your friends and family. All right? Now let's consider what a noun looks like in those two genders. Look at your screen with me at nouns with inflectional endings, and you'll see two columns of nouns. All right? The first column on your left begins with the Hebrew noun sus, meaning horse. The second column on your right begins with the noun Torah, meaning law. The nouns in the left column are masculine,